What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage video for you guys today. And today, we're gonna recheck out that Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark with the correct drivers. It appears the last time I tried this, even though I waited a few days, I still didn't get the right driver. Right after I basically got done making these, a day or two later, they come out with the correct drivers for the game. So, I'm gonna do my due diligence and go around all the AMD systems, at least the ones that can play the game good anyway, and give it a play. So, figured we'd start on the G15 Advantage, then hop on over the Alienware, and finish off on the secondary computer. So, let's not waste any more time, and let's go get into that benchmark.
All right, so here's how it did this time. All right, here's what we're gonna start with on 1440. We're just gonna basically max the game out with ray tracing and everything, just like we did at 1080p, and just see how it does. It's probably kind of stupid, but besides a couple drops under 30, it was actually, getting in the playable realm quite often for some people. Me, I like 60 plus, so not playable to me, but like I said, I'm not everyone. All right, so here we go. Now, obviously not the best FPS. Averaged 27, so we couldn't even quite get 30. But let's see what it can do with some FSR. Well, now we're gonna turn on a little bit of some FSR here. Hopefully it'd help it out. Maybe it can actually average 30-ish FPS now. I guarantee it'll still drop under 30 from time to time, though, especially with the ray tracing. Ray tracing is CPU intensive. Most people don't know that. Not always, but most of the time. And this game's CPU intensive as it is, because it's not the right engine for this kind of game. So now here we go. We got Ultra and FSR, and we did average just slightly over 30. It did drop down to like 27, 25 for a split second here and there, but for a lot of people, it'd probably be pretty playable. Not for me personally, but still, for a lot of people. Because some people are okay with 30 to 40 FPS, and that's totally okay. That's why PCs have options. All right, so now we can finally try frame gen out. So we'll try Ultra, ray tracing, all that stuff, with a little FSR, and frame gen, and all that good shit. But it still has some pretty big frame drops and whatnot. But hey, let's go see what it scores. So now here we go. Here's what it gets with frame gen. It can just barely, with frame gen, average 60 now, which is obviously, as we all know, not really 60 FPS, but we'll have to wait till the game comes out, and I can come tell you how intrusive that frame gen feels. Some games handle it pretty good, some games don't, but usually if it's not 80 to 100 FPS, it's shit. Okay, well, let's turn it down to a little high now. Actually, no. I believe I tried, yeah, I did do high. Okay. I think on some of the other systems, I did ultra. But with this one, I was like, nah, let's just go down to high. That's a lot more useful than trying ultra with no ray tracing. I think I did that on the Alienware, though. Because that one actually did a pretty good job with ray tracing and all that stuff. Especially at 1200p. Really easy resolution to do. Anyway, though, to the game. So, this time around, we averaged 38. So for some people, that would be playable, but I do believe it did drop under 30 quite a few times, too. But we now move on. All right, I guess I messed up on that ray tracing one. I guess I did high. I meant to do ultra, but it wouldn't have worked good anyway. So let's just try ultra with ray tracing off. But yeah, almost always I mess up a little bit on these here and there. So here's what it gets with the help. We get 47. Which, not the worst in the world, but most people like me want 60 plus, so that wouldn't fly for me, but hopefully it would be good for other people. So this time we'll try turning some frame gen on. Now that it allows us to on Ultra, and just see if we can have it average 60 fake FPS. I don't believe so. I think it does like 57 or 58. We'll see though. All right, so with frame gen, we did actually get 80, so okay. Foot and mouth there. I thought we weren't even going to average 60. Anyway, though, that's about that, so, and at least now it tells us the correct driver version. Now that we're connected directly to the 6800M, so that's good. Anyway, let's do the next test. All right, now let's tone her down to high. We're going to try native first. Then we'll do, FSR and frame gen and move on. Well, we averaged 38. so not the greatest, but still playable for some. But now let's turn on some FSR and see if we can't get a little closer to 60. All right, let's turn some FSR on. And I'm just doing the presets, so I think it kind of does one down from what it probably ought to in the FSR department, but that's just my opinion. So we got closer, 53. I'd definitely take 53 over 38, even though it looks a little bit worse. But this FSR isn't as bad as I've seen some implementations of it. But still just not as good as native, though. It is now the turn of frame gen. And if we got like 60 or 80 or whatever the last time, or 67 or something like that, we should do quite a bit better this time. But only time will tell. So, let's go find ourselves out. All right, I think last time I got 87, now we're up to 94, so not a humongous increase of FPS, but still a little bit. But in any case, moving on. All right, so now medium settings. And after we're done with medium, I'll fiddle with settings and do my own thing, just like I did on 1080p. All right, let's see how it does. All right, so we got 41 FPS. Still can't quite hit 60, even on medium, but still wasn't expecting it in this game, native anyway. This game seems like it was based around having upscaling and frame gen turned on at all times, which is silly for a game that looks like this, but hey. All right, now we're gonna turn on a little FSR. Now on medium, it puts it to performance, which I think is a little low, but hey, we're just doing the presets. All right, so this time it did barely average 61. Lots of drops under, though. And most of the time it was in the mid-50s. But in any case, let's go turn on frame gen. All right, now for frame gen, before we get to my settings. And all right, let's get back to that bench. All right, here's frame gen. And all right, let's go move on to my settings now. So now let's go with what I would run it at. Oops. I think I did that in the other settings too on that 1080p because I was sitting there fiddling so long. So most of the things in here I left alone from the default settings, but I did change a couple things. But anyway, let's go see how it did. All right, so we averaged 100. But obviously with frame gen it's fake, and I don't know how well that would actually work in an actual game, but figured I'd add it in there. But even without it, it would probably average right around 60, 64 or something like that, I'd guess.
All right, just like we did at 1080p, let's run the benchmark with the camera just so you guys can see what it's like and how it looks and all that stuff. And then that way it's also not affecting the FPS. I would have just done screen recorded, but then that's not going to show you anything, because it'll mess the benchmark up, since I don't have a capture computer over here. Really wish I had a portable unit that I could hook up. That'd be great. Anyway though, let's see how it does. Doesn't take too awful long to load either. Less than 20 seconds anyway. Honestly, this time it's taking a little longer than it usually does. Just to spite me, probably. I would say something like, oh yeah, it doesn't take that long. It's like, oh, you want to make a bet?
いい場所があったらベースキャンプを作るって腕が鳴る全てはそこからですね頑張ろう見つかるといいな取り勝ち
近づこう。
できるのですか？
やってみる。
僕も行く。
Damn, those were some good fries. Now, let's get rid of this program right quick. That way you guys can actually read. Hey, we actually got excellent this time. We got 20,129, 117, so it must be point related. I actually figured it was you got excellent once you hit 120 20 FPS or something like that. But obviously this is with frame gen, so you're going to be dropping under 60 here and there, no matter what, especially in cities. But at least in a lot of areas, the frame gen does seem to help. But it cannot put a band-aid on the spots that like we're dropping down to like 30 on ultra and ray tracing and stuff. Those still felt like they were dropping down in the teens, even though it said like we were getting like 30, 40 FPS, you know. But if I can't feel how the game would play though, unfortunately. So I don't know how intrusive it's gonna be. We're gonna have to wait until we get to the actual game to try that out, which I believe is pretty soon, actually. Like what, 2 weeks, something like that. But in any case, though, let's go wrap this video on up. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Monster Hunter Wilds benchmark at 1440 with the correct drivers. And unfortunately, the drivers did not work miracles. I think they made it slightly smoother, but we got like maybe a couple FPS extra. And that's a maybe. I'd have to look at what we got before. But unfortunately, wasn't a miracle worker, where it's not like we're gonna go from 40 at ultra all the way up to like 60, 70. I wish, but just wasn't meant to be. But it at least made it slightly less stuttery during the benchmark. But we still had frame drops in some spots down to the 30s when I wanted it to be like a max of 30, 40. And I still saw spots where it was dropping like into the high 50s and even high 40s sometimes when you got into town. So even with frame gen's help, luckily that worked now with the correct drivers. So I was able to get you some video of that and other footage too. And definitely helps out, but it doesn't look like it's a miracle worker. Even without being able to move, I could tell there were spots where it was still not 60. It'd say 70, 80. I'm like, no, that shit looks like 40. I don't care what you say. And that's without me being able to control it. Obviously, I'll test it out more thoroughly when I can actually move around and do stuff. But obviously, this is just a benchmark. I can't do any of that yet. Not until the game comes out. But I'm pretty sure that's pretty soon, like 2 weeks away or something like that. But I think the main problem with this game is the RE engine. Now, I'm no developer, so obviously people that are can correct me if I'm wrong. But it seems like that engine, while it works great for the Resident Evil games, since they're linear and you just kind of walk down small corridors to maybe small little blocks of cities and stuff, but you're not going and doing a big open world. So I think when you try to make the engine do that, it goes, what the fuck, buddy? I was never designed to do this. What the fuck are you trying to make me do? Stop. And then they just put like a frame gen band-aid on it, and that's why they say at the beginning of the benchmark, it comes up and says, hey, this is pretty much acquired and built around frame gen. Do you want to enable it? And then the first time I did that, it crashed. I was like, well, I did, but I guess not. But with the correct drivers, it at least works now. But I thought it was pretty funny. This is required. You have to use it. All right, let's turn it on. Immediately crashes. Awesome. You know, not very great. But I don't know. Shit like that just kind of makes me laugh, because I can just go to a different system if it doesn't work on one system. Definitely privilege in that regard. Not everybody can just go doing that shit. I'm happy every day I can do that. Went from not being able to do anything to being able to do whatever I want. Basically got to live the American dream. I hope everybody can get to do that, whether you live in America or not. Everybody should be able to go from being poor to actually being able to not be rich, but be able to just do whatever you want every day. It's so nice. And it takes a lot of stress off, and stress is the #1 killer, I would say. Next to like, obviously like drugs. I'd say pharmaceutical and food, bad food products are probably the 2 top killers in the freaking world, but hey, that's just my opinion. I have no facts to back that up. That's just off the top of my head. Anyway though, I'm going off on a tangent here. This is like a 3-minute outro. Sorry about that, but I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents about all this stuff. But in any case though, that is all I got for you guys for this particular video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.